All right, we're back again Saturday night. What about 9 days or so, 8 days after the Colorado shooting? That's going to be part of the topic tonight. But first, I'll remind y'all, this is the Politics and Preppers. This is a Saturday night show. We still haven't really done anything during the week on the preppers. Last week we got into some prepper talk. We might tonight too. See where that goes. And hopefully by tomorrow we'll have some more things taken care of, and me and Jim will get together and do some prepper stuff to add a few extra shows in on that topic. But, you know, everybody has been listening, I'm sure, about all this BS about Chick-fil-A. So I took a friend to Chick-fil-A last night. I took a gay friend to Chick-fil-A last night. And now I know why it's so dangerous. I think he turned straight. He was checking out the chicks before we left. But, all right, it wasn't as funny as I thought, okay?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
Anyway, that's ridiculous, you know? But it looks like, there's another, when I first heard this first part of the story, I didn't hear the part where the owner was just saying he had traditional Christian values. Basically, that's all he said, you know. And I didn't hear that part. I only heard that they came out with the commercial, and it had a black lady singing or doing something, talking about the chicken there, right? So they were attacking Chick-fil-A for that commercial, saying it was prejudiced because they had a black lady talking about chicken. Well, that's stupid in the first place, because what is it? One of the other ones that's on, has commercials on all the time, I guess it's Popeyes. All their commercials, that black lady talking about how great the chicken is.
So Popeyes is probably biased the other way.
Yeah, probably. But so it's not the commercial, and it's not the fact that there's a black lady talking about chicken. So it's not about prejudice. It's about they don't like the fact that the owner of Chick-fil-A has traditional Christian values.
Well, you know, the cows are always black and white. So I think that's pretty.
Yeah, but those are
good
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's your milk.
I mean, they could have made them all. They could have made them all white. That would have been a little more suspicious.
Yeah, it's just, you know. But I am seeing some reports that there's a lot of people going to Chick-fil-A that never have been before, and I'm going to be one of them this week. I'm going to go by Chick-fil-A. There's nothing really close to here, so I'm going to have to, when I get some time to get a little bit further over there, I'm going to stop off and get Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it doesn't really bother me what their religious beliefs are, but it bothers me that the French fries are cut the way they are.
Oh man, that's
one of the reasons I don't.
That's the most important thing right there. French fries.
I'd rather have straight fries.
Are the fries shaped like cows?
I don't know.
I didn't see that coming. Yes, I did.
Oh man, no, I literally would rather have regular fries. There's no undertone there. It's just I like the fries.
Well, whether you did it intentionally or not, you went there.
Yeah, okay. I guess I can't undo it. Yeah. I want to eat cows. I don't want to eat chickens anyhow. So.
Yeah, well.
I always enjoyed a good steak.
I like chicken.
I think it's a bunch of do about nothing, to tell you the truth.
It is. It's just the left attacking the right anytime they can for any reason. And it's to intimidate a fairly decent-sized company. And if they get away with it and it goes through, they will find another company that has the same kind of leadership or ownership, and they will attack that one, and they will attack that one. And I'm getting to the point I'm thinking it's time to start attacking back, you know. If a company promotes things that are socialist or communist or whatever like that, liberal attitudes, then either don't do business with their advertisers or don't do business with them.
That's a free market. That's
Yeah.
what we should all be doing. You know, there's no reason I can't say I don't like the guy because he's a religious nut. and I don't want to eat at his restaurant. That's fine. It's
Yeah,
free
but
country.
the
You
all
can't
these
slander them though.
yeah, all these big news channels and radio and TV, they're radio, TV, and newspapers and all that are attacking this company and slandering them. It's ridiculous. You know, it's not right. It's the typical crap that the left does, and that, you know how they're always calling us, you know, haters and mean spirited. They're the ones that are, but then that's what they do all the time. They attack us and accuse us of doing exactly what they do, but it's not true. You know, if you would just leave us alone and let us do our thing and quit attacking us, you would have. They'd be a lot better off, I think. But in fact, maybe it is good that they do attack us because it gets people ire up and they fight back. So, you know, it could be a good thing. I just sick and tired of all the lies that they stick out there, but I think it's getting less and less effective, and I think this is another one that's backfiring on them, and there's been quite a few the last few years that people are just getting tired of that kind of stuff, and when they come out with something and they attack people, those people get even better results than they would have without the attack. So maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, I don't know. I'm just getting sick and tired of it. And I'm thinking, I wish I had the power with a big TV show or radio show or something where I could start a big campaign on against, say, MSNBC, and anybody that has a commercial on MSNBC to boycott them. You know, you shut one of them down, it would shut the rest of them up, and maybe start get rid of some of those assholes that lie and left-wing BS out there. Maybe that would slow them down or make them turn it around, because you start taking their money away from them, they'll stop doing that kind of crap, because that's all they really care about.
Strange you asked that, Steve. I'm the one that would do that.
Well,
not pulling your chain either.
I haven't gone over there and looked to see who does what commercials, because I just can't stand watching that channel long enough, but maybe I will.
Yeah. Well, I can.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, I wish I had the power to get a whole bunch of people to do it to the point where it would affect them. You know, but I'm just a little podcast.
You see that little black box I've been wearing for the past couple of years?
Yeah.
Well, that there is a TV ratings and commercial ratings deal.
What kind?
They pay me to wear that thing. And
we'll work on it, but then they know exactly what you're doing, and the government does too.
Well, that's just for the TV broadcast and stuff like that, and the radio. They know what they can hear, what station is doing like that, but they're paying me pretty good for right now. But it's fixing to end here pretty quick. 2 years, 6 to come up. So they've been paying me pretty good each month just to listen to certain programs on the radios or TVs or stuff like that. So if I don't like something, I switch the channels, and they know about it. And that's it.
Yeah. So go over to MSNBC and change the channel.
There you go. All they got to do is just watch a different channel, and it cuts their ratings down drastically because they're going by these boxes we're wearing.
Hey, Mike, are you taking any show notes?
Yeah, I am actually.
All right. I never did get back to you on last week's show notes.
Yeah, I know. I'm actually working on the site while I'm putting the show notes up as we speak.
And I need to get some for the talk show. Anyway, I put a little bit up there, a little bit of a description for last week's show, but I didn't put much. So I guess we'll go over to the Colorado shooting. Last week I didn't want to talk about it. It had just happened, and I just didn't feel like it was time, and I had a feeling there would be just exactly what's been going on. I knew there'd be more to the story. I had a feeling there would be some connections and some things that weren't quite right. So it didn't take long for that stuff to start coming out. You know, there was an early report. Now, all this stuff, folks, I'm not telling you it's true. It's too early. I'm just saying there's time to quit believing in the government, trusting the government, and listening to the big news places and just taking what they say and take it for granted that it's true. I think most people are smart enough to know that, but they get just so many of them just don't even think about it anymore. They just grew up that way. You know, they get their news, they listen to it, they don't go check anything, they don't go check facts. It's time to start questioning the government if you're not already doing it. It's time to go do your own research. If something about a story doesn't sound right, and I think the truth usually sounds better than a lie, as far as maybe the lie is more interesting, but I don't think it comes across the same way. I think a lot of times when somebody speaks the truth and you get enough information about it and somebody's speaking the lie, and between that information, I think the truth just has a way of coming out. But not if you just sit there and just believe one side, and that's it. No, not, both sides twist and manipulate the truth. I think the left does it a whole lot more than the right, but then the right's part of the problem anyway. The traditional Republican right that's in the news, that's in the White House, whatever, Bush was not exactly the best thing we ever had either. Although he was better than what we got, he wasn't much better than what we got. A lot of the things that are going wrong, he participated in. And, anyway, so there's a lot of stuff that was starting to come out, and supposedly very early on, and there was some recordings taken from, like, the dispatchers and police cars and stuff, that there was some early reports that just before the shooting, somebody received a phone call and somebody opened up one of the exit doors. Now, that phone call could have been just as innocent as somebody calling a friend and didn't know they were in the movies. So, not necessarily anything to this story. But maybe once I finish, y'all will kind of see where I'm going. So they reported that there was somebody else, some kind of accomplice, not necessarily somebody else shooting, but some kind of other accomplice. But we don't know that. That's just part of the story. But you don't hear that reported anyplace else, except for the conservative news, maybe. There's, I don't know if you want to call them the conservative news. There's probably different descriptions. But when I say conservative news, I think you can understand. Anyway, then we find out that the shooter, whatever the heck his name was, I got it here. I always forget names.
It's James Holmes, right?
Yeah, James something Holmes. And he was a very bright guy, top of the top in intelligence, doing research, and he'd gotten a grant, many thousands of dollars. But he was working on mind control research, and from what I understand, part of what he was doing was trying to blend, if for lack of a better word, fantasy into reality, using the brain and manipulation to kind of bring the two together and work them together. Kind of sounds like what was going on with him in the shooting, right? Well, then we find out that he has his dad was a big researcher in mind control with the government. I think it was the Air Force, but don't hold me to that. A lot of this information I really just got today, and I think we'll go back to it next week and touch on it and fill in some of the blanks, and maybe there'll be some new information on it. But then we find out he's also associated with a lady here from the Air Force that was doing, I think she was a psychologist, maybe doing research on mind control stuff. I don't have all the facts on her yet, but there's another coincidence. We're getting a lot of coincidences done here. This is part I haven't been able to track down yet. I just didn't have enough time to track it down today. But if I understand right, it looks like he's got an Obama connection through some research, and between like Dad and some researchers that Obama has stuff to do with it through some organization or something. Could be far-fetched. When you're working with government, different parts of the government, Air Force, Navy, whatever, and you're doing research on different things, it's probably pretty easy to connect somebody with just about anybody in some of the higher offices. But and it's, there may be a couple of things I'm skipping over right now, but there sure is a lot of coincidences here that it just happens to be that time where the new treaty is, they're trying to get the new treaty so they can come through the back door and take our guns through treaty, which is illegal anyway. Treaties do not trump the Constitution. It's against the Constitution. It's illegal. But that doesn't stop them because they've done things before that just don't belong. And that we all sit back and go, they can't do that, but they do it. Or we sit back and it's something so outrageous that like when they were trying to put health care through, I never really believed they could. And if they wouldn't have cheated, they wouldn't have. But I'm sitting there, it wasn't that important. Yeah, they'll never get that stupid stuff through. That's so freaking crazy, and it's so illegal, but yet they got it done. And then we get the Supreme Court to go along with it, which really irks me. But there's just a lot of coincidences here that add up to me to say conspiracy. And not even conspiracy theory. Just plain conspiracy. Anybody got anything to add to that?
It's just hard to. it's hard to prove anything at this point. I tend to agree with you, but there's so many different ways this thing could have played out. The guy could have been kind of self-experimenting, and unintentionally something happened. He could have just went crazy. Someone could have tried it out on him. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there could be that there's something that maybe he didn't understand what he was getting into, and they used it against him. And maybe there's some trigger that they set up to where he would go do something stupid like that. Maybe he did it all on his own because whatever drugs he was experimenting with did it to him, and he just went nuts. Because if you're working on something, you're spending all your days working on this project, and you go crazy. Well, it might be that you go crazy about whatever it is you've been working on all the time. So this just kind of played into it. I'm not saying there's any proof of any of this that the government made this happen. I'm just saying there's a lot of coincidences, and that people ought to open their minds up and go check out some of this stuff. Don't believe that the government's there to protect you, because they're not.
Well, here's the other thing too. I mean, people are looking at this, but shouldn't they be considering or be alarmed that the government is paying people to do mind control studies and
yes,
things like that? I mean, that's probably the bigger story. No matter whatever happened to him, it's more scary that the government's doing it.
Yeah, and I was going to lead there with, when I was saying that don't believe the government is there to protect you, because they're not there to protect you. They're not protecting us. They're taking our rights away so they can control us. And we got this mind control stuff going on. They're doing experiments with, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts. That's a fact. You can go figure that one out real quick if you want to. And a lot of the stuff you can go figure out fairly quickly if you want to. But that one is a fact. And a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, you go find the information, but they don't always lead to. They don't always come down to where I would say this is a fact. Like I'm just saying, all of the things I was talking about is, here's some information. Here's a story about this. Here's a story about this. All this stuff adds up to the point where maybe you ought to think about it and check into it and make up your own mind. But the mind control research is a fact. And it's been
the
going on.
government, has the government said that that's what he was doing?
Oh, it's all documented.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
That's what I thought.
He got the research money from the government to do the kind of work, and there's plenty of documents out there to show what kind of work he was doing. And then some are saying that's where he got the money for the guns. Instead of using it for research, he used it for guns. Because, how could he afford what, $20-something thousand worth of guns?
So now he's stealing from the government, not guns.
Yeah. But still, you are correct. Just the fact that the government is doing mind control bothers me. And they're doing it. Yeah.
I mean, that's some scary stuff there.
Even if they're researching it, even if it was really kind of an innocent thing, which I don't know how you'd make it an innocent thing, but just for
there's no way to twist that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, even if they were doing it for some reason to work on enemies of this country, it's still wrong.
No, because all that technology gets out of our grasp. I mean,
yeah, there's some technologies that just need to be left alone.
Yeah, and you can't contain anything anymore. The world's too fluid.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned with what they're doing with all the bioengineering. There's lots of problems I see there.
Hmm.
Jim, you still there?
I'm still here.
All right, why don't you fill us on what you want, and we'll come back to this topic if we get around to it.
All right, I've been doing a lot of research on these, and also purchasing stuff for the go bags and stuff. One of the things is this Berkeley water filter system that I picked up recently. This thing is remarkable, man. It's virtually what it is two separate stainless steel containers with a water filter, and it filters through your down to the bottom portion. Which has a water filter system through it, which is great. And the prices range from something like the one that you go for camping, like you put in your backpack and take off with, which also goes with that portable water. It's about $150, which has been getting some very good attention. It's in all your major gun shows and stuff like that. You just look up under Berkeley portable water purifier.
All right, and folks, we're not selling any of that. We're not promoting it because we're trying to make money off of it. Even though we get to a certain point, I might, but not right now. I haven't even seen the thing. Jim told me about it. He was looking at some of this stuff. But the one I really wanted to get out, Jim, was what you found out about you and I were talking about individual dealers don't have to turn in the paperwork. Like I go in and I fill out the paperwork to buy a gun.
Yes, on that.
They just call in.
Deals.
They just call in to get the information to get you okay. Just a minute, Jim. They just call in, like when I go sign my papers, they just get the information as far as who I am, blah, 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 check my background and give the okay or no. But it's the individual dealers that keep the paperwork with them on what gun it was and all that.
Right. Yeah.
And my problem was I was under the impression that when you buy a gun from a dealer, they do the paperwork, and that paperwork, a copy of that, is transmitted or mailed to the feds to keep track of who bought what, serial number, and all that. Now, I know that's a little bit different. Actually, if something comes up, the government will go to the individual dealer and about that gun and find out who owns it, blah, blah, blah. But where we're coming in now is there is a place where the government does get notification. So that's where I was going. So fill them in there.
This is how this works. When you usually go to a gun shop or gun store and you buy a single weapon, that paperwork, you're correct, it does stay with the dealer and it never leaves his possession. That doesn't go to the government or feds or nothing. But what they've put into place now, primarily after this Colorado shooting we had, if you were to purchase a semi-automatic weapon or a fully automatic weapon, if you had a license to purchase it, two of them within a 5-day period, then it is then they notify ATF that you just 5-day period, and the paperwork is sent up to ATF, and they'll know about it.
Yeah, and I think there's even more to it. Go ahead, Jim. I'll let you finish.
Yeah. Now, I've had this reconfirmed by 3 different sources. One of them at a gun dealership here in San Antonio, another one in Uvalde. Both of them I spoke to. The last one, the one in Uvalde, I spoke to today with. He reconfirmed what the first one told me. And that's what's happening now, and that's all because of Obama's gun control, how he is planning on making it where it's so expensive for us to purchase mainly ammunition for these things, but it's how they're going to crack down the guns even harder is making it where they're going to exactly what you buy. And so that's the big deal on that.
It's kind of starting to get hard to hear you, Jim, so I'm going to jump back in here. Part of this came up because a friend of mine, I'm a lover of the Old West, like Western movies, Western history, Western guns, and I shoot competition, several different types of competition with fast draw, with single action pistols, and my mentor builds a lot of these guns, and he's always looking for Ruger 3 screws. And if anybody knows where we can get some, because they're getting harder to find, jump over and let me know, and we'll let you know how to get in touch with me or us. Anyway, he goes around and he would go to pawn shops a lot, and he would find these guns every once in a while. Well, he came across a pawn shop someplace along the coast. Maybe it was Corpus, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. He bought several of them, and I don't know if it was 4 of them, 5 of them, 6 of them, 7. I never did hear the number, or if I did, I don't remember it. But then a few days later, he got a knock on the door, and these 2 big guys from ATF, I guess it was ATF, said, what are you buying so many guns for? Well, they didn't know what kind of guns he bought. They just knew that he had bought some guns. So either that dealer at that shop decided that it looked fishy and did it on itself, or there's some kind of paperwork that they had to do because he bought several guns in one day. And you know how the government works. They didn't bother to check that these were single-action pistols, or they didn't care. They just wanted to track down who's buying so many guns. And I can kind of see it. If they know what they're talking about, then somebody that's good with one of these guns is just as good, if not better, than somebody with a semi-auto, except for they don't hold but 6 rounds. Still, 6 rounds in the right hands can do a lot of damage. I can hit 3 targets at a range that would be a defensive range, and I can do it in under a second. And I know lots of them can do it 4, 5, 6 targets in that same time, some of the best. But so anyway, that's where this conversation comes from. We don't know why sometimes maybe things get turned in. So basically what we're saying is spread your guns out a little ways. Most of us don't have the money to go buy a whole bunch of guns anyway, all at one time. So spread your gun purchases out to where you don't come under the scrutiny, because you don't know where they're going to go with it. You don't know what kind of people you're going to get in at your door knocking on it. You know, they could be jerks. These 2 guys seem to be very professional, had no problems with what he had once they found out what he had and why he was doing it. They saw that he was a gunsmith, and they saw why he was building the guns, and that he built them and sold them. So it was no big deal. They said thank you, and they went on their way, and nothing ever else happened from it. But basically, it's just be careful about that. Now, last week, I also was talking about how to hide your guns. And don't, try to do your best to make sure that not all the guns that you own have paperwork tracking them back to you. And no, don't keep all your guns in one place. Go out and hide them in a location that can't be tracked back to you very easily or at all. But some of the things I told you how to do were just things that I know about. Those things are already out there on the internet, and if they want to find your guns, and if they really get serious about it, they're going to have people that know about a lot of these tricks. So use your imagination. Come up with some different things. And I'm not going to go through any more of them that I know about openly. I can share some of them with personal friends if we need to, but just use your imagination. Do something different if you can. Think of something that they wouldn't think about. So just don't rely on one thing. Use your imagination. Come up with different plans, different ways. So if they do figure out one thing you're doing, they can't just use it to figure them all, the rest of it out and find all your guns. Just mix it up a little bit. You disagree or agree with that, Jim?
Oh, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, because we
Same
talk
thing.
about that kind of stuff all the time.
Oh, yeah. That's the same thing I was telling you about with that, what they're coming down with on that Sega shotgun. That they're coming down, ATF is coming down really hard on right now. If anybody's interested in getting one of those and put it in their closet, within about 6 months they can double or triple their money on that damn thing. It's good. They're going to get. What's going to happen is a couple of years ago they lost their supplier, and the guns went from about $700 to $1,400 overnight. Reason that they're after these versus your AK-47s, the M16 or AR-15s with your 30-round clips is kind of think of the firepower difference between a semi-automatic 12-gauge going off with 15 or 20-round clip versus a AK-47 with a 15 or 20-round clip. That shotgun's going to do a lot more damage, a lot more. So that's
and I did hear that Kel-Tec had a somewhat similar shotgun, and they were having some kind of trouble, but I don't think it was the same kind of trouble, but they were having some kind of trouble getting those back out and on the market. I don't know if it was production problems, shipping problems, or government problems. I don't know. I didn't hear.
Some production problems on their end, like some of their Kel-Tec 9mm. A lot of them, like as recent Cabela's, will not carry the Kel-Tec compact 9s anymore because they were jamming, they having a lot of feeding problems, so they decided not to even carry them anymore at all.
Yeah, luckily the only Kel-Tec I got doesn't have that problem, and this is the only one I was interested in. So
these are the subcompact 9mm that are single stack. They're 7 rounds, but the ones that they're really going after now is the Sega 12-gauge 20 and the 410s, the ones where you can get the large capacity magazines for. What is it? The prices on those things are anywhere from $600 to $800 right now on the open. I found a contact where I can get them at a fairly decent price. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm going to do. Pick it up and put it up and use an investment later on down the line because those things are going to get like gold.
well, and now I'm going to jump over to something, this treaty that they're trying to pass that will basically take our gun rights away from us. If you are concerned, it's time to get involved. Get in touch with your representatives, senators, so on and so forth. And what I'm doing is I'm going to tell them that not only will I vote against you if you go for this, I will actively work against you. I will get out of my house. I will go talk bad about you on the show, on the internet. I will person to person more than I normally would. And I think that's what we got to start telling these people, because I think they're really trying to get away with this. I really think it's not any BS. It's not being twisted around. It's not being a bunch of people getting overly worried about something that may or may not be. I really believe that is exactly what they want to do, because some of the wording in that thing, and it's all legal mumbo jumbo. I'm not going to sit here and try to report on it and tell you exactly what it says. You know how to use the internet, most of y'all. You can go find it. It's not that hard. And but it even talks about the treaty where they send whatever kind of help you might need So if the United States says, well, we can't get this under control, we have a big problem, we need food, we need money, we need manpower, we need somebody to come help us confiscate the guns. Basically, it leaves it open-ended to where any kind of help needed by anybody in that treaty, the other treaty participants are required to pitch in, which includes sending people over, troops, whatever, to help physically make it happen.
Yeah.
So that's why I think they are actually, if they're even still thinking about this treaty, knowing how the country feels about their guns, knowing we don't trust the government, knowing that's why we have guns, not just to play around with and have fun with and go hunting, but to keep the government in line. Because if you don't keep the government in line, they will run all over you. And imagine what they would have done already if they had the power that they really want. And they'll never get the power they really want without getting rid of the guns. So I'm just saying,
unless they succeed on the mind control thing.
Yeah. Let's hope they don't.
Then they have people with guns under their control.
Well,
like a double win.
Under the health care, they might start telling us, you have to take this shot.
Oh, they already do that.
Yeah,
they already inoculate our kids. They say you can't go to school if you don't have inoculations and segregation.
Imagine that. Okay, here you go. Here's a new inoculation that you have to have.
Yeah, what's in there?
By the way, it's mind control.
We don't really know what they're putting in our kids.
Or us.
Or what they put in us, yeah.
You just go get a regular old shot for something, a flu shot. Maybe they could put crap in those too. And look how many people go get flu shots.
Yep.
Well, they were talking about decreasing the world population anyway. Find some way
to
do it.
Yeah.
Be a very good way to do it.
Oh yeah, and there's some information and stories out there that I still find, a lot of this I still find hard to digest, because I trusted our government way too much for way too many years, and some of it's still hard to digest. But it's a slow digest. But I'm getting there. I'm still finding more and more stuff that actually stuns me, and then I go check it out, and I'm going, God.
Yeah.
The next time I see Al, I want to slap him for getting me involved with this shit, waking me up, opening my eyes. But I'm glad he did, really. I just like to joke around with him about it.
Kind of horrifying at times to find out exactly what they are really in for us.
Yeah, I was going through physical therapy the last few weeks because of an injury. And late last year, I just got a full physical, and we did a blood pressure testing and all that, and I kept records. I'd take my blood pressure at home. They did it at the office, and because they thought maybe I had a high blood pressure problem, but I don't. But when I go in for therapy, they always would check my blood pressure, and I go in there 3 days a week, and they go, "Why is your blood pressure up all the time? You got a blood pressure problem?" I said, "No, I've been listening to Obama." He always gets my blood pressure up. And, I didn't want to talk to him too much because I don't, it wasn't the place to be talking about politics. I didn't know the people. They don't know me. We're trying to keep a professional thing going. They're there to do their job. So, but I also told them as soon as the pain goes away, my blood pressure will drop. And it did.
That's how it always is.
Yeah.
And that's why I was checked the first time, because I had an injury, and the doctor said, well, it's time for a physical anyway. Let's go ahead and check your blood pressure, because we've seen some spikes in it lately with the injury and the different times. And I said, yeah, let's go do it, because I needed to. My dad has a history of high blood pressure and heart problems. So yeah, it's a good idea. Let's do that. And I'm okay.
I've been off my blood pressure medicine for about a month and a half, and I've been checking it about every other day. It's been mostly in the normal range.
And you attribute that to what? Your weight loss or exercise, or?
I haven't done any exercise, but I lost probably around 30 plus pounds. So I'm down in the 170s. It was 215. So, yeah, I mean, that's one thing. I'm trying to do some things to manage stress better, and there's lots of things that affect it other than weight. So
See, that would help you, Steve.
Yeah, Mike and I have been talking about this. This is a topic we're working on and researching, and because we want to get into some of the health stuff, and as soon as he's ready, we will be going into there. But, it's not something either one of us feels comfortable with, just going and saying, this is good, this is bad, this is, we want to kind of learn a little bit more, get a little bit more comfortable with it. And even when we get to the certain point, I don't think we'll be going, oh, this is what you should do. It'll be, here's something that's worked for me or worked for Mike, or here's something that is interesting enough to go look at, that kind of thing. Mike, before I forget, the new website, tell them about it.
Yeah, I was going to jump in earlier, but I didn't want to mess up the flow. But yes, we have our new website. It's at livefreenews.com. And I just put up a new section for the podcast. So we're going to have podcast show notes. This is show number 15, by the way. With some show notes, I have the link to the Berkey water system. That's at berkeywater.com. Like we said, we're not really endorsing that, but Jim mentioned it, so we're just putting it out there for everyone to check out. But I'll put that there. Also, you can follow us, join in the conversation at twitter.com/livefreenews and facebook.com/livefreenews. So that's where we're at.
All right. I need to get a link up over there to my bestbugoutbagcontent.com site. So it'll be easier to send them to the news site because it's easier to remember.
Yeah.
And they can click on a link there if they want to get it. Because at my Bug Out Bag site, which is bestbugoutcontent.com, it's not just about bug out bags and bug out bag content, everything that might be in a bug out bag. It's about the whole thing, bugging out, bugging in. What do you need? What information do you need? What knowledge do you need? What kind of resources do you need to look at? Your planning. It's by far a finished site. There's still
basically like prepping, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we covered just about everything prepping, probably.
Yeah, and there's a whole lot of stuff I still don't have there because it takes really, a long time to develop all the information, and there's always new information, and there's so many different situations that come up. There's no way for me to tell any individual without knowing everything about what they do and what they need and where they live and what their schedule's like and all that.
Right.
There's no way for me to fill in everything. So most of it is. Some of just very basic to give you information so you can start formulating. Some of it goes down to some pretty good planning for certain types of situations. But still, even in a certain type of situation like a flood, and you live in an area that floods, or you live in an area that doesn't flood but the surrounding area does, there's some pretty good information there on some of those type situations, but there's still a lot of outside influences that for your specific situation, you have to learn as much as you can to see what fits in to your specific situation. But I think there's enough there that you can get a lot of information to get you to the point where you'll feel comfortable about what you need, how you need to do it, the different kind of planning that goes along with it, how much will it cost you. A lot of it you can do without a lot of cost. A lot of it you can do without no cost, or virtually no cost. And then some people just have the money to go out and buy whatever they need.
Well, I was telling you about, Steve, that space emergency bag. It's very cheap, and it can prevent hypothermia and everything else. The size of this thing is humongous. You're looking at 36 inches by 84 inches in diameter. Complete. Can cover.
Yeah, and that's basically a blanket. That's basically one of those aluminum-looking like blankets,
right,
but this one's not the blanket that just folds out over something. You slide into this one. It's like a bag.
You slide inside of this thing, and it covers your complete body, and it will prevent hypothermia or anything like that. And you're looking at
very light
bucks for this. And it's a great deal to put in your bug out bag. But
I would also, there's bug out bags out there that are pre-made that I don't endorse the pre-made ones. Most of the ones you'll find, but exactly, because they don't have a lot. They got stuff you don't need for your situation, or they got shitty stuff, or But if that's where you want to start, and it makes you feel better, you want to go get one of those, and then take out the stuff you don't need, add some stuff that you do need. If you want to use it for starting place, they're not expensive really, but that's also why they're not very good, because there's really just, the place to start though. I suggest you get your information together and go buy a bag that fits your specific situation, and they go from there. And then customize that for your needs and keep the weight down as much as you can for whatever it is you think you need to accomplish. 24-hour, 36-hour, a week, whatever it is you think you need that bag to cover. And remember, that bag doesn't necessarily have to go on your back and you're going to be driving. Your plan may be that you're going to just throw it in the car. Well, it's there sitting on. You got to just jump in your car and go. But you also have the bag, so if you can't leave by car, you have the bag, you throw it on your back, and you're down the road. Walking, biking, whatever, horseback, whatever it might be. So anyway, there's a lot of information. I need to get that link up. I keep forgetting. And
I put a link on the show notes.
Okay.
That and the ones that got the most popular ways to do your bug out.
You're breaking up, Jim.
I said that and the ways they got the most popular ways to get out through. And one of the ways is bicycle. People are building bicycles with trailers behind them.
Oh, yeah. I've seen a lot of that. We discussed that. Bikes,
great.
Horses, bikes, motorcycles, four-wheelers, cars, trucks, huge four-wheel drive, motorhomes. There's all kinds of stuff out there. But the bigger it is, the less chance you got of getting out of wherever you're at, depending on the circumstance.
You want to stay on the road.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's a big storm coming and you're bugging to get away from the storm, and you're early enough to where you don't have all that traffic or something, and you can get out with a big vehicle.
Yeah.
Maybe that's fine, but there's just so many different situations. If you get out late and you got a big vehicle and you get stuck on the road, well, you can pull over on the side and stay there with it or something, but hopefully you're far enough out of the danger zone. But, you need to plan for as many different scenarios as your location might possibly be involved with. My suggestion is to start with the basic stuff that, a couple weeks ago, some of the places up on the East Coast were out of power for 2 weeks. Though they didn't necessarily need to bug out. But who wants to stay where you don't have electricity? And you could, on those situations, get out in your car and just leave town, go someplace else. But say it was a little bit shorter term thing, you're out of power and you couldn't leave because the roads were flooded, whatever, then you need to have a few days of supplies at your house. Everything you need, medicine, food, water, whatever it is you need for those few days. I would start out there. Start out with water, then some food, then your medicine, and add to it as you go. The further you get along in that, the better you will feel. You don't even maybe realize it right now, but when you actually get that stuff going, you feel a lot better about it. It's like a little bit of a weight's lifted off your shoulders every step you take. And once you get to a certain point, you go, God, that felt good. I got that stuff there. I feel better about taking care of my family and then maybe a bad situation. I've got some options now. If something goes bad, I can stay, I can go. If I can't go, then I've got what I need to get through X amount of days. And for what I see for most people, once they get to a certain point, maybe it's, say, a week worth of whatever they need, they keep going because they realize maybe it's something that's going to last more than a week. Maybe I'm going to have to leave. Maybe I need something a little bit different for this situation. That it's all good. It'll make you feel better, I think, and that's why I started it. Just recently, basically not recently, the last few years, getting a little bit more prepared. I took it past the level I had it before. And, of course, me and Jim, who's on tonight, we go way back. to training for this kind of stuff many years ago. We used to remember this, Jim. We were out in West Texas, and we had the big cargo net, and they had the military helicopters flying around. We were playing games, hiding from them, covering up our camp with the chemos and stuff, so they couldn't find us and didn't see us.
Oh, and they couldn't find us.
No, they didn't know where we were. Of course, if they would have been using infrared, they could have, but apparently I don't think they were.
No.
And I don't think they were really that worried about finding us. I think they were doing other things more important than just us.
They were just doing the maneuvers.
Yeah. But it really did look like they were actually playing the game with us. I think they were having some fun with it. But who really knows?
Too. I had a good time at
it. Yeah.
Of course, I get off to stuff like that anyway.
Yeah. Well, you get off to it more than I do, but I enjoy it too.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it more then than I do now, because now I realize how serious it really is.
Yeah. Well, I
have a family to worry about.
Well, I've kind of taken this prepper stage up to probably about the third or fourth level too. You know that.
Yeah.
Because you seem well, I've taken care of and done.
All right, we're getting close to an hour. Mike, you got. You want to promote your health site, or are you not far enough along there to be concerned with that yet?
Nah, it's not ready to launch.
Okay.
I mean, I'll put it out there. It's healthblackbelt.com. So basically, I only have 1 or 2 articles, but it's going to be focusing on
a big help.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the approach. The black belt reference would be kind of a twofold meaning. One meaning, it's kind of a twist on the black belt certification for Six Sigma and lean manufacturing, where you're just trying to be efficient, eliminate waste. And that's what the approach we take. I take my health, and you do things that are going to add to your health and not take away from it. And then just generally, I want to be healthier so I can kick more ass.
Yeah.
So
that's
my take on the name.
Yeah. I went to some of the training years back, but I
okay.
Black belt. It's very good for the soul and the mind to do that, and a lot of discipline involved, which was very helpful for everybody.
Yeah, I didn't look at it as my health. I don't try to lose weight really. I just try to change my diet, try to figure out what was potentially making me sick, and what, like wheat and dairy. I can just tell people right now, you stop eating wheat, and some people can eat dairy, but basically our body's not really designed to digest it very well. Some people can a little better than others, but eat these 2 things, you take those out of your diet, and potentially you have a lot less chance of health problems. So.
Well, I've lowered my wheat consumption. I need to keep going.
Yeah, but the thing about wheat is even small amounts of it can be very damaging. I mean, you don't realize it because your body kind of deals with it, but you're always in a state of inflammation inside, and you don't really realize all the things it's doing. So,
yeah, and there's another topic you were touching on the other night, and I'm just going to bring it up. We don't need to go into it, but I want you to keep me informed. Where you're getting is, I know you're a pool player, and you're looking into some different things to help you be a better pool player, better concentration, and so on. And that is probably another good subject that we could talk to people about too, because being able to control your concentration and stuff is I think would certain situations would be a good information for people that are, say, preppers. You know?
Like if you're into competitive shooting. Yeah, if you're into like competitive shooting or something like that, or anyway, really what I cover on that site is I try to hack they call it biohacking. So I kind of follow these guys that are, you might have heard of like Tim Ferriss. He's kind of a biohacker, or Dave Asprey, which you probably never heard of. But anyhow, these guys, they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes to try experiments on their body to become better, become more productive and be healthier.
Yeah.
So they do stuff like running current through their head, and I mean, at very, very low levels that you can't feel. They do crazy stuff like that, but they also just do basic things. to be more healthy. So anyhow, that's what I'm trying to figure out ways where I can take things from them and apply in my own world, and especially to play better pool. So that's one of my passions.
Yeah, and see, I'm thinking along the lines of I tell people if they're going to get serious about this kind of situation, if they're worried about the kind of stuff we talk about,
Right.
is you need to be able to handle your weapons in a bad situation. For me, the best way to do that is actually go out and compete, because it raises to a new level. I mean, your adrenaline gets pumping, you're stressed out, you're having fun, but it gets you probably as close to an adrenaline level that you might get some good training out of for a real emergency. If you learn how to get to shoot well in competition and use, if you need some extra help, something like what you're talking about, could be used to help train you to shoot better in stressful situations.
I'll tell you one thing. Once I get it ready to do it, I'm actually thinking about getting the certification. And this guy has it's called Whole Brain Power, where I can be a whole brain power coach. So, but basically, he used some techniques which could very well tie into prepping to just develop using more of your whole mind. And he does some really fascinating stuff. He's really good at teaching like memory skills. And
I forgot, what did you say?
Yeah, right, exactly. I'm terrible at that. And as we age, it's easy to see the decline, and some of that's related to health, but some of it's just we don't use our brains as much as we used to.
Well, I really want to. I'm looking forward to when we get to the point where we can incorporate some of that stuff into the show and into the websites, because I think it's going to be. For most, I think it'll be like the last part of what they get into. They'll start by getting a bunch of stuff together, and then they'll find out it does make a difference to them, it is important to them, and they're going to want that'll be another level.
I can't see where this won't be beneficial to anybody. This
everybody.
No matter what prep for anything. This would be good for everybody all the way around, just to better health in general.
If you stay healthy in general, you don't need the government as much.
Right.
So the less control over you and your life they have, the better. The less control they have over the whole population, the better.
Yeah. You talk about things they could do to reduce healthcare costs. I mean, I just named a couple. Those would be more transformative in our healthcare system than any bill they could pass. It wouldn't help farmers maybe, but at least not the big ag, So
they'll just change what they grow, because we're not talking about not eating anything that grows. We're talking about changing some of the things you do.
Yeah.
So they just modify what they grow. They'll be fine. There will always be room for farmers.
And you stop subsidizing it, that'll help too.
And I'd like to see the farming situation get back to it as more small farmers and less big ones.
Yeah.
There's too much control by the big growers.
That are involved.
But even in your regular life, even if you're not doing anything, if you're not getting prepared, you're not worried about the government, just the fact it'll give you more money in your pocket if you don't have health issues. If you're completely self-absorbed in yourself, But then what's wrong with just doing something for yourself? Being healthy, making yourself feel better. I need to do that. I'm at a point where I've got to do something. I'm having too many issues. They're affecting me at work. They're affecting me off work. I need to fix it. I just have a hard time getting there, because there is a lot involved, especially with where I'm at now. I got to correct several things, and I actually need to go out and start working out and incorporating some of the exercises and stretching, yoga moves, different things to get my body back to where I feel better. I'm having too many injuries that I think are affected by my lack of physical. I'm out of shape.
But also don't discount things like inflammation in your system. This can cause a lot of fatigue and pain and
exactly.
All kinds of different elements.
That's why I've been so interested in what you're looking into, because you feed me some information and then I start looking here and looking there, and I'm trying to figure out, well, what would be the best thing? What do I need to figure out what it is? Figure out my little plan, and start working on it. Now, I know for a fact I can start out by cutting back on sugar, cutting back on carbs, wheat and stuff like that, get a little bit more exercise, and that's a starting place. But it's just a starting place. I need to learn more,
Well, I'll tell you real quick, and then we're running late, but if people, the biggest thing I hear whenever I talk to people about cutting out wheat and sugar, I really cut out probably 90% of my sugar too. And it's hard because I tried it for years and years, tried to stop drinking soda, chips, and pretzels. But I would always have cravings and cravings and cravings. I can't. I'm not strong enough to fight the cravings. I tell you, and most people aren't. That's why we get fat again. But the key is eat animal fat. When you eat animal fat, first of all, your body is designed to eat animal fat. It's very dense in nutrition, but it also is very satiating. So you don't get. As soon as I started primarily eating like more than 50% of my diet in fat, good fat, like animal fat or butter.
Not margarine, butter.
No, real butter, and preferably grass-fed butter. There's a lot better fats in grass-fed butter and grass-fed meats for that matter. But anyhow, as soon as I started doing that, my cravings, I didn't get hungry. I would eat, and I could go 5-6 hours, I wouldn't be hungry because it's slow burn. It's very satiating. So that's been the biggest thing for me. I just don't get hungry that much. I eat a good fatty meal, a lot of meat, some veggies, some butter, some good quality meats, and you don't get hungry much. I don't want to snack all the time.
What was that, coconut butter you were telling me a while back, or was it something else?
Coconut oil. Real coconut oil, not the, it's solidified at room temperature. It's organic. But, and then part of that inside is MCT oil, which you can buy it straight MCT oil. I hate the taste of coconut, so I buy MCT oil, which is just the fat, just the oil.
Olive oil is a lot less saturated than your regular corn oils and stuff like that.
Yeah,
olive oil.
As long as you don't cook it.
Don't
cook it too much.
Yeah. Real high temperatures like frying, it can damage the fats, and it can cause some inflammation in your system. But olive oil is at lower cooking temperatures, or just put on a salad or something. What
were you putting in your coffee?
Oh, I put about a half a stick of butter in my cup of coffee in the morning.
Was it just butter, or was it a certain kind of butter?
It's grass-fed, pastured. Look for it. It's going to be harder to find, but from pastured cows, and it's always unsalted. Make sure it's unsalted too, or it'll taste like crap.
Yeah. What does that do for you? The half stick of butter in your coffee?
Well, it's like I said. When I get up in the morning, I can never go to lunch without snacking. And if I just drink coffee will give you a boost, but it won't keep you going for 5 hours. But the fat, you put a half stick or 2/3 of a stick of butter in there, that's a good 400 or 500 calories. That's a nice, it's food for you. And you're burning fat. So what happens is when your body's,
it takes a while for your body to burn through all that.
Yeah, your body's used to, in a normal American diet, it's used to burning carbs. So when it's in carb burning mode.
I need to gain some weight, not lose any weight.
No, you do?
Yeah, I need to if y'all have any extra pounds you want to get rid of, send it to me.
Hey, I got some right about 20 pounds right here.
I'll take
it.
But
like I said, it's not all about weight, because
I know.
Obviously if you're way overweight,
well, if you eat healthy, your weight will get right.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what kind of a revelation was. I eat for health. I find out what's going to make me sick. I don't eat it. It's almost like I don't get any tempted to eat bread, because after I've read, if you read the book Wheat Belly, I don't think you could eat another piece of bread if you read that book.
Hey, let me ask you a question. We were talking about bread. When we talk about bread, we usually talk about wheat bread. What about cornbread?
No, corn's not good either.
Okay.
No,
corn's another.
It's high saturated in carbohydrates too.
Yeah, corn's another another oat or another wheat. I mean, it's another version of grain. Your body can't really digest corn very well. Have you ever noticed, like, when you're not healthy, you poop the corn out?
It's like you corn on a cob. It comes out the same way you ate it.
Yeah, and what's bad about that is whenever your body doesn't digest food, first of all, it's a sign you're probably not as healthy as you could be. But also, the body attacks food like that that's not digested, and you develop allergies and food sensitivities when your gut's not digesting food right. So there's all kinds of crazy stuff, man.
Well, you do realize, by us getting on this topic, we need to do a couple shows as soon as we can, separate shows just about this kind of stuff.
Yes.
We need to sit back and go over, pick a certain part of it and pick part of it and go through it, and then the next show we'll pick another part and do it. We just need to get around to kind of organize that. Maybe we'll have a little discussion on it. We'll do a show, and we'll just discuss it in general and figure out where we need to go. And so people will be able to listen to that and go, well, I need to come back and I need to listen to this because they're going to do another show, and it's going to be about this part and this part and this part. Maybe we can just do a show to get things started, just a general talk like we're doing now. So let's stop about this here. We got a little bit of a teaser going, I guess. We'll come back and we will do a regular show like the private show we were talking about.
Okay.
And then we'll upload it, and then Jim and I will get together and we'll do some prepper stuff, and we can all do this all together too. But when we do a show, one prepper topic, that show will be about the healthy stuff, and then another one will be about maybe the guns or the backpacks or the food or the filters or whatever. And each show will have a different topic along the same goal.
Right.
All right. Okay. So we're past an hour. We gave them a tease. We need to get back together and actually get some of these shows on the board. And
I agree.
So when we get to all this stuff organized, you'll be able to go. Well, you can already go over to Mike, the new website.
LiveFreeNews.com.
All right, you'll be able to get the show there. You'll be able to find links to what we're talking about. We've got a few articles up on there on a lot of the stuff we talk about. So go by, take a visit. Leave a comment. You like what we're doing over there? Leave a comment. Tell us you got a little information to add to whatever we're talking about. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think, good, bad, or indifferent. Leave a comment. Go to and follow us over there on Facebook and Twitter.
Hey, go to iTunes and give us a review, please.
Yeah, go to iTunes, give us a review. If you've got time, come by TalkShoe.com, leave us a review. Tell people it helps us. If you want to get this show, you can get it through iTunes. So you don't have to come to this and find it, or to our website and find it. You can just go to iTunes and find it and download it to your iPod or iPad or whatever, your computer. Leave us a review. We could use the feedback on what we're doing. All right, so that is the end of tonight's show. This is the Saturday night show at TalkShoe.com, Politics and Preppers, Saturday night, 10 o'clock Central Time. We're here on Saturday nights. Talk to you later. Thanks, guys, for coming by. Hang around for a minute, and that's the end of the show. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
It's not stopping.
Not.
Do you want me to make the sound? Will that make it stop?
Yeah. Come on, turn off. Think of these guys.
Maybe we'll record for the next 2 weeks and we're about
It's yeah. We'll just leave it running and come back in 2 weeks. In a week. It will not stop.
Your computer locked up?
No, computer's fine. It's TalkShoe.
Oh.
Because I can, yeah, It's a problem over at TalkShoe. God, now I'm going to have to go back and edit this one of these days.
That's going to be a drag. I think his deal with Mike doing all this health stuff is, man, that's the most beneficial thing I've heard in a long time.
Well, anyway, maybe it'll catch up to me here in a minute. Jim, tomorrow when you come by,
Yeah.
on that reloader, you got a plate on the top where the dies screw into. Bring me the plate. Bring me just the plate.
Top plate.
Yeah, just bring me that plate.
The top plate goes on the
Yeah.
reloader. Right.
Just
Really?
the top plate. Yeah.
Yours
Not where you
bad,
have to unscrew. No. I just want the second one so we can set up the 45s on there.
Oh,
without
okay.
having to-
Because you got three slots up there, correct?
Or 4.
Yeah. 4?
Yeah.
4 holes up there, or 3? I can't remember.
You don't have to undo the screws. You just rotate that plate that where they screw into.
Yeah.
Rotate it to the right place, and it'll just
pull straight up.
lift it up.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to end this show. And don't forget to bring your computer so we get your Skype hooked up and set up.
Yeah, that'd be beneficial.
It will not stop recording.
It won't. All right, but I'll see you tomorrow around 2-ish then.
Okay, take it easy.
All right.
See you.
Take care, Mike. All right.
Yep. Bye.
I will take care of this, and I will talk to you later if you need something, all right?
Okay, man.
Take it
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.